Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Inside the Coded Economy, where technology meets painting, and we just talk about business and what's going on. I'm Bailey Rayner. I'm the host, and today we have Lydia Moore and Andrew Theokas with us from Benjamin Moore. They are here to talk about what's changing in paint, where tech meets craftsmanship, and how leaders are shaping the industry's future. So, welcome, you guys. Glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
So just a quick overview. Each episode we dig into what's new in the world of paint with innovators, entrepreneurs, pros shaping, the way that we live and work in both the residential and commercial spaces. Obviously, I work in painting, I work in technology. I've kind of been around for a little bit as you guys have too. So just some real quick introductions. Lydia has been with Benjamin Moore for about a year and a half. She's a national account representative, and Andrew's been with Benjamin Moore for 9 years. So little longer. I've worked with both of them and appreciate both of them greatly. So to give a quick overview, and you guys can talk on this a little bit more, what a national account representative does at Benjamin Moore is you guys are here to connect basically the purchasers that are out there, like different types of purchasers. I'm assuming larger brands, right? We work with you on the franchising side, down to the independent painters, and connect them to the independent retail channels, which is your store owners. I believe you guys have about 7,500 stores around the country, and that's huge. That's a lot. That's more than others. And you guys have them individually owned, right? Like some of them are individually owned? Are some of them corporate, or is every single one all?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and it's a great place to start. And Bailey, thank you for having us and having me on here. It's a great place to start when you talk about Benjamin Moore. We're very, very proud of the unique way that Benjamin Moore goes to market, which, as you mentioned, is only through the independent retail channel. We are committed. Benjamin Moore has been owned by Berkshire Hathaway since 2000. And their mandate to us is to maintain the relationship with the independent retail channel. That means that if you buy a gallon of Benjamin Moore paint, you're buying it from an individually owned business. You're not buying it from a big box store. You're not buying it from a company-owned store. There are some of our independent retailers that are large businesses in themselves that have 100 stores. So they own a lot of stores, but it's still an individually owned company. And there are some of our retail outlets that are single owner stores, family owned stores that have been in the same place for a really long time. But the unique thing about Benjamin Moore is that we're committed to selling our paint through the independent channel and supporting the independent owner, which leaves an important job for Lydia and I to do in terms of supporting customers that have the opportunity to work with more than one of our retailers over a region or an area or the country or the US and Canada. But that part of the relationship with how Benjamin Moore goes to market is always going to stay the same, and we're very committed to it.
That just shows you guys have a unique relationship with independent business owners, whether they own a Benjamin Moore store or they're purchasing the paint from Benjamin Moore. They're like you guys are doing a lot. That's good. I like that. You're doing a lot to help I don't want to say the little guy. If you got some people that own like hundreds of stores, that's really neat.
If you're a painter or a homeowner or a facility manager or whomever you are, and you carry out a gallon of paint, you bought that from an independent owner that we've sold the gallon to, and we help support them. But we want to make sure that that's something that we highlight, because it can sometimes make things challenging from a purchasing perspective, but it is always really helpful. We really are glad to support the independent business person in this country the way that we are. The thing that's interesting about the paint industry is that, it's still very much a craft. the application of paint is very much a craft. And historically, the crafts person part of it was the lead. So if your father was a painter, or your grandfather had a painting business, or you're a young woman who's going to, take over a family painting business, the craft was first and then the business was second. And so a lot of that was built into muscle memory and experience. Well, now, especially in the franchise world, you're getting the opposite. You're getting the people who are leading with business first, and then the craft has to come along with it, right? Paint is a science in a lot of ways, right? It's a coating, it's a chemical compound, it's a chemical, so it reacts chemically to the ambient conditions in a lot of different ways. And so learning how a structure in Miami responds to an exterior coating rather than a structure in Utah where you guys are, in the high altitude and, low humidity and everything. And that's an important distinction. So we can't leave the craft behind, but we also have to catch up. The painting industry has to catch up technologically and business savvy wise, marketing wise, with other industries that are service oriented that are going that way. It's an interesting time to be in the business.
Lydia, how you've been with Benjamin Moore for about a year and a half, you said. How did you find your path in this industry? Like, how did this happen? You talked a little bit about it at dinner the other day.
Yeah. So I've been in the paint industry for 17 years. So it started a long time ago, and it was with a small regional brand. And so I've moved around a bit through acquisitions and have learned a ton. I think what I like most about it, I didn't think I'd stay in the industry, but what I like most about it is you just work with so many different kinds of people. So you work with painting contractors, you work with business owners, you work with designers and procurement people, and it's just a really cool place. Everybody needs paint, and so I've been just kind of, I've learned a lot through the years, and I think I'm really happy where I'm at. It's been exciting. I think being a woman in the industry has been really cool. It's changed a lot. I think what I love most about that is like when I was walking in our lab a couple months ago, and there's a ton of young women starting out. So like the resistance is stopping. Like when I first started 17 years ago, it was, there was a lot of resistance, and it was like, there's not a lot of us. And then, as years goes by, there's more and more, and now it's the norm. So it's been really cool.
Do you know what's like why that shift has been, like why there's more women popping up in this industry?
It's probably in a lot of industries, but I mean, I don't know, but I know that that I felt it, and I felt like when I was a couple months ago, and I was like, there's a lot of women that just graduated, and this is cool, and I think we're gonna they're innovating. They're gonna be part of it. They're gonna be part of this, next chapter. So I don't know what the shift was, but I'm happy about it.
Yeah. Well, I know Andrew's on here, but like not to like toot about women, right? Like I'm obviously a female in the service space, painting space, and technology. It's like of all the things. Yeah, I see a lot more. Like we get a lot of female owners in our franchise, which has been, I guess, a surprise to a lot of people. I think it's really cool. We've just got those business-minded women that are like, I'm going to do this. This is it. It's smart to be in the service space. Painting is a smart business to be a part of. One of our girls, I connected with her pretty well, Laura. I'm sure you met Laura last year. And so Laura came from the beauty industry, and I came from, right, like working in the modeling and acting industry forever ago, behind the scenes, right? Like I wasn't the face. I don't like being in front of the camera, oddly enough. But her and I connected because we're like, oh, we came from basically like a beauty industry, lipstick industries. And her slogan that she has, you know, she used to beautify faces. She came from Estee Lauder. Now she beautifies spaces. And she's quite successful, in my opinion, and is a rock star and gets after it. And so I don't know what the shift is either, but I see a lot of it. And especially with our big like customers, whether it's on the tech side or on the franchising side, most of the people that I work with tend to be like female led. So I don't know, maybe we're bored. I would love to like just, I made bread and pie the other day. I made like bread bowls and everybody's kind of confused. I'm like, Bailey, what are you doing? I'm like, trying to get back to like my female roots here. So, what's kept you excited? You've been with Benjamin Moore for 9 years. So what's kept you excited about this, you know, this world?
Sure.
You know, why have you stayed at Benjamin Moore? I guess give a little bit of insight there.
Sure, thank you. Well, one of the reasons I stayed at Benjamin Moore is that it's always great to, in my opinion, to produce something that's a premium product and that is seen in the marketplace as a premium product, and to be able to equivocate to a customer and or help a painting contractor equivocate to a customer why premium products are important. And you know, you just mentioned a great brand, Estee Lauder, that thinks of themselves in a premium way, right? Well, we, you know, there's a lot about the paint industry that is a, you know, it's listed as a commodity. You see it as a commodity. We don't necessarily think of it that way, and I certainly don't think of it that way. I mean, I know we're in manufacturing, right? So we have manufacturing parts of this, but really we're wanting to. It's interesting to see how a product can help beautify a space, protect the space, you know, enhance people's values on what they want, provide service to great people. So that's really interesting. And I would say also just the wide variance of owners of companies that I am happy to have worked and interacted with, right? So Painter Bros has a certain setup and the way you guys go to business, and you have franchisees that each one of them has a nuanced different story. And when I take a Painter Bro franchisees, if Lydia and I take a Painter Pro franchisee and bring him into a Benjamin Moore retailer, you know, that retailer has his and her own story as a family business, and how do we connect those things? So, you know, some of the folks, Bailey, in the Painter Bros world, I've worked on with huge, giant conglomerate retailers, which is fun. We just did a project at a Major League Baseball. We're trying to do a project together at a Major League Baseball stadium, which is really awesome.
Yeah, who's that?
Well, that was with John. So it's near my hometown. Let's put it to you that way. And they want to.
Where's your hometown?
I'm in New Jersey. I'm in New York, the New York metro area.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. That's so cool.
It's very cool. Neat. And so in this little, and I wasn't actually there, but I was. So this is what I love about my job. You know, John from your company called me, and then I set up a meeting with one of my colleagues and one of your franchisees and the asset owner to walk and come to an agreement about how we can help them, right?
Yeah.
And your franchisee has his own story. Our retailer that we're going to end up getting the paint from has his and her own story. The Benjamin Moore corporate employee that's there providing support, it's got his own story, and it's all coming together, right? And so every day, those variables are different, and it's exciting, it's fun. And the constant is, we're trying to help somebody here with a product. Yep. We make a product and it can help people. And so that's what keeps me going every day is what's next, what challenge is next. It also gives me gray hair, but that's what challenge is next.
Oh my God, my Botox game has gone up substantially since being part of Painter Bros.
You know, this is why you got to love the podcast, because Who knew that we were going to talk about that today? Who knew?
Oh my gosh.
But
I
we're
know. Well, good thing when I start to notice, no joke, we're on our meetings with people, and if I start to get like the angry eyes, I'm like, oh no, like it's time to go get my Botox. So I have a very, I may not say everything that I think, but my face sure does. So I have to be careful of that. But no, that's really cool. I mean, I like what you said with, where like you may not be directly involved in everything that's going on, and neither am I, right? But I heard about it and I thought it was really cool. And, bringing on those franchisees for me it's huge to hear even the opportunities that they're given. Whether or not like this whole thing happens, with that project, it's just cool. It's just cool to know that they had that chance, that opportunity. They've got a good team behind them, because that's a big part of what we get asked when we're selling franchises. Like, what kind of support can I get? Where do I find, products? Like, how can I get more educated on this? Because even though our model is more like business focused, and I always tell people, like, I'll teach you about paint, don't worry, I don't want you to know as much about it as like people you hire on. You're gonna know enough, but the point is to like get connected with the right people. So yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, it's very rewarding, and no matter all the ups and downs that we deal with on a daily basis, I still get very excited every morning that I wake up, come into the office. Like, I love it. I love the people that we get to work with. You guys also last year in Miami at our conference, you guys like walked a job like during the conference. You guys went and did an estimate so I love that too. You're like, let's just go do this. Let's go take a look at it. Was that with you or with somebody? Did you have like the local rep go?
I was there, but I definitely didn't walk the job. That's not Lydia is much more, it's funny. Lydia's talking about, she's new to Benjamin Moore, but 17 years in the paint industry. Before I started working at Benjamin Moore, I could reasonably tell you that there was liquid in the can, reasonably.
Yeah.
And that's the extent of it. I didn't come from that background. I don't have a background in paint. So I've had to rely a lot on my colleagues who we're very, very proud also of our sales and field team is the most highly educated in the industry. So if I'm in Miami, I have my choice of multiple people that can say a customer's having a problem. And listen, that's when there's the common denominator. If you're a renter, if you have a vehicle, whatever it is, you've got a problem and you need someone that you trust to help you with the problem, right? Yeah. And so we've got a really great field force out there that can help with these kind of things. So I definitely made a call, or I was with someone that can say, yeah, sure, I can go look at that. It wasn't me.
Yeah, I think it was, the local rep that was there. And I remember our franchisee was just like, that was so amazing and so helpful to have just them jump on it and do a walkthrough on a project and, and then show up to the conference. So, this year feels a little bit different. There's been a lot of, it's been weird. I had someone from like a tradesman organization give me a call and checking on us and how's business, how's our pros doing. And that's what I told her. I was like, it's just like a weird year. We came off of a pretty big high last year with a lot of the larger national contracts that we had. Everybody's excited. It was a good year. And then we had like the tariffs, this year. So things were kind of delayed and shifting and moving around. So can you keep on that path and maybe highlight a little bit more on like the economic struggles that you guys are seeing?
Sure, I'll start. And Lydia, I don't want to, you can follow up with some of the, I know that, for example, some of the healthcare partners that you're, looking at. But number one thing is, volatility is a good word, right? It's a challenging word. There used to be things in forecasting terms that you could kind of count on, whether they were good or bad economic headwinds or tailwinds, you could count on them to be seen through. I think that's less that's less true today than it was, last year or the year before. Obviously, one of the big indicators in the painting industry, and this is not necessarily the commercial side of things, but one of the biggest, the leading, I mean, we pay very close attention to the housing market.
Yep.
Okay. If there are new homes being built, if there are people moving, if there are people selling their homes, if there are people buying homes, if there are people getting ready to sell their homes, that's all that stuff is very, very good for the painting industry, right? And, the unknowns, if you're, the unknowns of the economics of when should I sell my house, or should I downsize, or, I got a new job, but I don't have to move because I'm working from home now, right?
Yeah.
Now, all those things factor into, some of those raw macro numbers that we look at. From a business commercial standpoint, the businesses as business owners, commercial business owners have the same challenges in terms of the volatility, which may lead them to back off on projects. It may lead them to push forward on projects. It may need them to, rebrand or remarket. We want to take a bigger chunk out of the market, so we're looking to rebrand, and that entails painting. So it's something to constantly be vigilant about. I don't think anyone's happy about the volatility in terms of not being able to predict. It challenges us from a supply chain, although we've done very, very well in that regard as compared to our competitors, in the recent past. But all those things are challenging, and it makes us being able to produce our product at a good, fair price and have it on time. Those are challenges that we all face.
Do you guys manufacture in the States or outside of the States?
We manufacture in the States and outside of the States. But yeah, in the US, we have manufacturing in the US.
So were you guys not really hit as hard with just what was going on this year, or did that impact you at all? Or did you see any kind of issues with the pricing and whatnot, or no?
So our supply chain folks are really, really great, and they do a really good job. We manufacture almost everything that we do in the United States. Some we have some in Canada. Good thing about paint for everyone is that it's hard to make overseas and ship because it's heavy, so it's expensive to ship, right? And so we are at times affected by raw materials that need to be purchased, that can only be found in different parts of the world, that we have to input. But at this point, it's not the raw materials as much that's affecting those decisions at the leadership level for us. It's more about the market and how it's affected by, like I said, those factors that we talked about before: the housing market, the commercial market, the sales market. So, that's more affects us, but we haven't. There are other industries.
Yeah.
Wood, steel, right, that are highly affected by geopolitical things that thankfully we're not as affected by them.
Yeah. Yeah, we just saw weird, like you said, it was just kind of some weird trends. Not just on, with our franchising organization, but also with the pros that we work with, through our tech company too. And the leads, that come in. And,
right.
One of the things that we always did, which I think was a smart business move, was we weren't ever just in residential or just in commercial. We do both, and it fluctuates with the economy. And so this year was just kind of one of those interesting ones where it was like both were impacted.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, we still saw a lot of big projects going on, and if commercial is down, typically residential goes up, and if residential is up, then commercial goes down. We see those trends going on too. So yeah, I'm just kind of curious. One thing that we were working on and looking to do with our tech company was we see these trends happen as well, and so we figure out ways to help the professionals out, because I know they come to you guys and they say, hey, I'm spending more money here, or I'm not making as much. Like, I need a discount on my paint. Like, what? What
I've
can you
never
do
heard
for
that
me?
before. That I
Oh,
don't,
good.
no one really
We
says
hear
that to me.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe some other folks hear it more
yeah,
than you guys, and that might
yeah,
be your plus there.
yeah.
So yeah, our thing is like, okay, well, how can we, we've got great partnerships with you guys, and so how can we help them cut costs in other ways? And leads and technology is one way that we can help them cut costs, so they're not coming to you guys and trying to undercut the independent business owners that you guys have as well. Like our biggest thing is we got to figure out how to help everyone win, not just one or two people. Like, how can we really help everyone win? So it's been an interesting year to do the things that we've been doing on our side, with this like economic challenges, but it's been a really good year to play with it too and see where we can cut costs, where we can increase revenue, and who we can rely on essentially. Thanks for that insight there. Lydia, I don't know if you've got anything that you wanted to add to that, like any of the trends or challenges that you're seeing on your side.
Yeah, not Andrew hit a lot of it, but I do think having that diversity helps. So when you are looking at a lot of different jobs, I was looking at healthcare, education, and that fluctuates, like it seems like, healthcare was putting some jobs out this year, and I always just kind of try to look everywhere. And
yeah,
the warehouse spaces were kind of quiet, where they were really heavy last year. So I always just try to have those conversations with pros I'm talking to and hear what's going on. But
we saw an increase in government. I mean, you're bringing up like the education. We saw an increase in government. Work this year.
Yeah, same. And I think it maybe we're just like noticing it more because other ones were quieter. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. But yeah, lights, everyone's like, our lights are on.
Yeah.
For, people with pipeline, are happy. But yeah, that's really all I have to add is just, keeping that really big diversity open so that you're constantly, seeing all the projects of all these different segments.
Do you help connect people with the projects? Or like when you say that you're looking at healthcare and education, are you?
I try to, that's part of just networking. If we know what's going on in different areas, and yeah, absolutely. Well, we're helping, both everybody, like they need somebody and people need work, and we know people in the markets. It makes sense to network.
You guys stay pretty consistent with your like customer base. And that's maybe kind of an interesting question, but some folks may see, we were talking about pricing earlier. So if there's like the economic hits and challenges, we're seeing some other manufacturers that are like cutting benefits and cutting costs because they were hit harder this year than other. Like, do you guys ever see a lot of that like fluctuation, or are you pretty consistent just with the way that your model is? Because you said, I've never heard anybody come in and say, hey, can I get a discount on my paint? Whereas like that's prominent.
I'm just trying to head that one off at the pass. Not that I don't want, but I think. Well, again, I think you talk about the uniqueness of Benjamin Moore. I think if anyone who's ever spent any time studying Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway, and the Berkshire Hathaway sort of philosophy of investing in companies, and what they value and how they think about things from a 30,000 foot view, from a 30-year view, historically, I don't know the exact number, but you can count on one hand the number of companies that Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway has bought and sold. A couple companies have, not existed anymore, and but basically, he's not flipping companies like a lot of, modern people. He's not the short-term game. So now you talk about leadership, that ethos comes down through our senior leadership. So, we're also privately held, right? Berkshire Hathaway we're privately held. We're not publicly traded, so we don't have to answer a quarterly earnings call. That doesn't mean that the quarterly earnings aren't looked at very closely, and it doesn't mean that we don't make decisions based on quarterly, yearly, biannual earnings and the ebb and the flow. It just means that we get to make those decisions in a private way, and privately the way that we look at ourselves. And then our CEO Dan Calkins makes this point to us every time he speaks to us. And Benjamin Moore is not a huge company in terms of numbers of people. It's a fairly small company. So Lydia and I can come across our CEO and interact with him several times a year, 6, 7, 8 times a year in person, one-on-one, right? And so anytime he talks to the group and talks to the team, we're not trying to be the biggest paint company in the world. We're trying to be the best company in the world. That means choosing our customers wisely. That means choosing our partners wisely. That means adhering to a certain value proposition and values proposition that our products bring, and not shying away from being a premium paint. That also, when you're a competitive person, like we all are, right? We're all competitive people. That means that you're going to A, lose, and B, choose to lose because you're like, this is not our type of customer here. Yeah. Not easy to do when you're competitive. Not easy to do when there's a scoreboard out there with your name on it that says, I sold this amount of paint and, you sold this amount and all that kind of stuff. But it's super important to us to maintain the worldview that Berkshire Hathaway has, which is the long-term view, so that we don't have to make those earth-shattering decisions either for individuals or for people. It happens. It's not like it never happens, but that's what's another really good thing that's great about working for Benjamin Moore, is that philosophy that trickles down from the top of the Berkshire Hathaway leadership to Dan and to our senior leadership, and down to the field level, down to where Lydia and I are.
I love that. That's so funny what you said. We don't necessarily need to be the biggest, but the best. Zach says the same exact thing.
Right.
With especially like in our franchising space, we're constantly being looked at of, well, how many did you sell? And we've said many times, like, we're not here to sell the most. We're here to get the right people in, because saying that I have so many and claiming to be the biggest doesn't really matter if we have a terrible product and terrible process and people are upset and grumpy and leaving. We would much rather be picky, in the beginning with who we bring on, so we can ensure that we are the best.
Right.
We want to be the best painting franchise out there.
Right.
Because we stand by our values, and we aren't afraid to say no to the people that aren't going to serve us. We are very particular with our partners and who we bring into our organization, because they need to have that same moral compass. And if you don't fit well with us, then okay, that's okay.
Right.
And
which is easy to say on a podcast. In real, in front of it, like when you're looking at revenues and you're looking at numbers, and it's not always easy to do, right? It's easy. But if you can look back at that as your anchor, as your sort of your North Star, then that's a good place. That's a good place for us to start, we think.
I think we get a lot of credit for that, Zach especially. I mean, you look at us, right? Like, I'm going to judge myself. You would not think I work in tech, right? That I sit here and stare at software every day, right, and that I have this weird nerd brain. I'm like a socially awkward person. I actually am much more of an introvert. And then you look at Zach, who looks like he should be, playing guitar and in a band.
I swear, not to date myself, I was just going to say the first time I saw him, what was the name of in Almost Famous? What was it, Stillwater? He looks like the guy. It looks like he should be. It looks like he should be playing in Stillwater. I know I'm dating myself with that film reference, but yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I'll have to bring that up to him. He's
yeah,
been
well,
getting,
Lydia said
Bradley
it. Lydia
Cooper.
said it. I mean, yeah.
Oh no, you got called out. But yeah, I think, our customers appreciate us being authentically ourselves. And, we've changed the game, like on the franchising side, with the type of people that we work with. And we just hear over and over and over again, like, yeah, we look at you guys and wonder what in the world why aren't you wearing a suit like everybody else? And we're like, that's not us. Like Zach has his rock band t-shirts that he shows up to, and I wear a ball gown to go grocery shopping because I like to dress up, right? Like, we just are who we are, and we're going to do what we say we're going to do, and we're going to, like, you're right, it's like easy to say on a podcast, but we really do live it in real life. And I think that's one of the reasons why we get the type of partners that we have, is because we just are going to not be afraid to make sure that we bring on the right people and walk away from the ones that don't serve us or don't serve our organization. So even on the tech side,
right.
Same thing, like not afraid to say, what, this relationship isn't working anymore, or our values aren't the same. We're here to help everybody win, not just a couple people. And if you're not going to be willing to help everybody, then, and it's tough. Like, I tell you what, like, as an owner, it's like gut punches and disappointments, but then you look back at it and you go, this was the best decision, because we're here to help everybody. So I like that you said that, and you just got some good references that I think jive well with how we look at things too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here to help everybody win. With that, I want to get into some of the nerdy stuff, like the tech side. The service space is not known for technology, like at all. Right? Our average construction worker is 55 and older, and now we're getting into the next phase. With the Gen Zs and the Alpha generation coming in, and they've only grown up with technology. What have you guys seen, either at your level or at the store level or with the painting professionals? It doesn't really matter to me, but like, what are you guys seeing with shifts in the technology space, and how it's either negatively or positively impacting you guys?
Well, I'll start. I think that there's starting to be some great tools, and I think business owners or pros are feeling that they need to use them, like estimating softwares and even some of our tools that we have. But I think adoption is like, it's just not happening yet because they're too busy. But I think that it will adopt because it's going to have to, but that's just what I'm seeing. I think that they're like, I know that we need these tools, but
let me be a little stubborn.
Like, I don't have time wearing all the hats right now, so
yeah,
like, I'll get to it, but I don't know. What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I mean, it's well, first of all, from a specific painting point of view, right? So there's this big, crazy, big, scary word called technology out there. Okay. So which aspect of my business is best served by this technology? If, like, as Lydia, like you just said, right? So I'm super busy. I have time to learn a thing. I don't have time to learn all the things, but I have time to learn a thing. Should I apply that technology to estimating, to job efficiency, to marketing, sales, to overall growth and costs. So it's the first question that a business owner has to ask themselves is what, not only what technology am I going to use, but where am I going to use it where am I going to prioritize this time and effort that it's going to take me to do, because there's a lot to be said for figuring out if you're working as smart as you should. Is your paint product working as smart as it should? Are your team members working as smart as you should? Or how can I utilize AI and social media to gain more customers in an efficient way? That's do I how am I and all of those things take time and effort to learn, and it takes investment in money, time, effort, all that stuff. But that's where a strategic leader, and I think that's where you guys do a great job for your franchisees and for your other partners, is to say, I'm going to help you strategically pinpoint the places where this will be worth it. And then how to evaluate and assess the time, effort, money that it took me to see if it was successful. So Lydia just talked about estimating software. There's a lot of good ones out there, right? And we're trying to learn along with you guys about what works, how that stuff works. So we just incorporated a brand new team at Benjamin Moore. You talked about downsizing. We just created some new jobs for a contractor training team, just to talk about that, to talk about jobs theory and efficiency on the job and what those numbers mean. So if everyone says, well, I was using an average of 8 gallons per bedroom or per room per house, and now I'm using 6 gallons. What does that really mean? How much time am I saving? How much, does that third coat cost if I have to put a third coat on? In the abstract, it's easy to point toward those things, but okay, how is that helping my business?
Yeah.
How much more money did I make? How much more successful is my business today because I've incorporated these things into my work? So I think that's a challenge for all of us, is to prioritize and be able to show the results so that people want to take the next step after that.
I think that's really neat that you evaluate what they're, putting on a wall.
Right.
And it's important to you guys as manufacturers. I know Lydia, you and Zach were giggling about this at dinner too, with the type of paint that used to be out there. It's like, let's do 20 coats, because it just won't stick, versus, the 2 coats or, average, or are we going to do 3? Like what? And so I do think, it's really important for you guys to understand and know, like on your side as a manufacturer, that's big, and can really help people out, with what they're purchasing and cost savings. We do the same, on like the marketing side, with leads, like what are we spending over there? Where can we help people? You brought up some good points, both of you, with utilizing technology where you need it the most. And I think what I'm seeing is, Lydia, you mentioned they know that they need to use it. They haven't gotten there yet because they're doing everything. And so, if there's a solution out there that helps more on the administrative side, with they just sit there and talk to their phone, quite literally, and say, put this on my calendar, call this customer, send this one an email, input this estimate for me. That's what we're developing and getting ready to release in the next few weeks, actually, some of those products. And then in the next, by the beginning of the year, we'll have some more advancements on the estimating side, AI driven. I don't think there's a lot of people that fully understand how AI works. I'm noticing that as we get out there. And so it's not meant to take a job, it's meant to complement your job. And so these pros that you speak of, that are like, I don't really want the tech. Well, it's there to complement and make your life easier. You're the professional still. You know how it all needs to, you walk into the space, you know exactly what you need to do. Typically, they know how much it all costs and the process of it. So let the technology complement, your mind and your expertise. That's what we're working on, because we've noticed the same thing. Just it needs to be what's the one thing that they're doing over and over and over again that they don't need to do.
Right. It's a, you're drilling down, right? Drilling down is not an easy thing to do. And by the way, the other thing that it's, as if from your spot and from our spot, but from your spot, you could convene a meeting of 5 franchisees and have 5 different priorities. Someone might be, right? Someone might have, a relationship with an applicator that is second to none, and the people that he works with are great and are, perfectly efficient, but it has trouble closing business. And then you could have someone who's exactly the opposite, right? So as a strategic partner, how do you try to give everyone, try to diagnose what different people need, and also without driving yourself crazy, right? You can't, they have to run their business, right? But there are trends that we can see that can help along the way.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that when we were first building out the software was, and I don't know if you guys knew this, before I came over to Painter Bros and FM Flow, I was actually working on a different construction software that was residential focused, and it was really just a solution of how to connect people. It was still really cool, but when I saw what FM Flow was, I was like, oh, this is great. Right, because it's residential, it's commercial, and it's connecting everybody, and it is like a full closed loop system. So what we did was, it's a lot of the same information in different ways, because some people do well looking at a calendar, and that's their day. That's me. That's my brain. I can look at it and see everything that I need to do. But then you have a ticketing timeline and see where everything's at. That's another way to look at it. So, and then with AI, you can talk to it and it will talk back to you, or you can ask it questions and it will pull up the files that you need, or it will type it out. So to answer that question, what we had to do with our technology was figure out all the different ways that people learn and build it into the tech, and figure out all the different ways that people operate and build it into the tech. And so it's simple, but a beast, because there's so many different ways that you can utilize it. But you don't have all of these bells and whistles and buttons that aren't going to service you. They're not it's efficient because it has to be, because you're in the field right then and there working with these customers. And so yeah, I don't know if that answers your question at all, but that's what we had to do, was look at how do different people operate. So that's what we did, and I think it's doing a good job. It's working, and we're always listening to what our users say, and seeing what ideas they have to make their lives easier, and take those into consideration and work through it. And sometimes we implement them. So other times we've implemented their ideas and shortened it up, right? Skip these 3 steps, just go here. Oh, wow, okay. One thing I want to, before we wrap up, you guys are working on, you mentioned reward programs and, trying to work more with the professionals that are out there. What do you guys do as far as just programs that are available, mentorship? How can you help not just the store owners? I mean, that's important, but the pros that are buying the paint, working with the homeowners. What do you guys have available for them?
Yeah, well, so I would say it's not necessarily program, but what I would say that anyone listening in the industry, please just go to your local retailer and introduce yourself. and start a relationship, because that's the biggest and best thing that you can do. And also just your suppliers and your peers, and it's just such a great thing just to know people and just to say, this is what I do. And if you're looking for a specific type of work, and just start those relationships. But we do have other programs too. Andrew, do you want to talk about that?
Well, one of the things that we have is a contractor loyalty program that we work pretty hard on. Again, with Benjamin Moore, the absence of a common POS system throughout all our independent retailers had to get us to be creative. But there is a contractor reward program that we have. The short-term transactional win for a contractor is if you buy paint from your Benjamin Moore retailer and we track the points and how many you bought, you can win things for yourself and for your business. You can reward your subcontractors, you can win trips for yourself, you can win gear for yourself, and that's a very nice thing, and it's transactional. The longer term play for it is the giving us over the ability to see the data of what you purchased, right? So I'm a Painter Bros franchisee, and I am in New Jersey, right? And I'm going on a call with Bailey and Zach and everyone, and I'm going to be on with my colleague from South Florida. Okay, well, what do I buy? What does he buy? Why do I buy it? Hey Benjamin Moore, can you help us evaluate the products that I've been buying from you, and their interior, their exterior, their premium, their this? What makes you reach for this particular product? Mm-hmm. Is there a better product that you could use that could perhaps bring you more gross value in terms of the price? Or can you upsell a better product to the customer, and how would I go about doing that, right? And so the data, the long-term play is a partnership data sharing between the two of us, whereby we can take, so if I sent the same very, very experienced rep into a business to sit over coffee with someone and say, what segment are you working on? Where are your shortfalls and all this kind of stuff? They could give anecdotal evidence, but now if it's backed up with data-driven evidence of, well, this is what you bought last year, and why do you buy this? So that's a better partnership play, along with the fact that you can earn stuff to bring loyalty to your subcontractors, or make your spouse happy because you got them something new. That always works for me for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I go back in the doghouse. But
gotta work on that.
I'm challenging. Oh no, I'm challenging. I'm challenging to live with. It's not my wife's fault. Believe me, I'm challenging. So, but that's something that's important to us. And again, now we're exploring this. That's right. That's post-purchase data. Mm-hmm. Now we're exploring this. Go to your local Benjamin Moore retailer, or have us ask us to help you be introduced to your local Benjamin Moore retailer, so you can learn more about our contractor training program that we've put together now. That's led by a terrific guy in our company named Mike Munwiller, who's got 40 years of paint experience, right? And, but he's thinking about things in a very analytical way in terms of efficiency. How can that help me? How does that help me? Hey, could I talk to someone about this and see how it helps me? Use the resources that are available to you, and build that relationship with your local people. Let us help you at the national level build those relationships, because we've got good stuff out there.
That's really cool. Insight. I'll have to tell you something off this call about what you said. So I don't want to reveal too much. 2 closing questions. So Lydia, I'll start with you. Favorite high impact innovation by a woman in either paint or tech, or just in general?
Okay. Favorite innovation. Okay. I'm going to go, so like I'm going to go general and just say that I just love how everyday women just put processes and just make things so efficient in general, because I can't think of one, but I mean, from figuring out how to get kids and dinner and all these things, like
Yeah.
women are just amazing. But just women building processes every day and making companies better every day.
I think we're good at that. We're good at the multitasking.
I think so good at it. And I think processes, like,
I mean, I think that's probably a good example. In my opinion, I think that's what we are really good at in our value in business, is the fact that we can sit there and look. I think men are go-get, right? They're killers. Men are go-getters. They're the exactly what I said, like hunter-killer mentality, right? And I think guys will get out there and they will just like get it done because they have to, and they have to provide, and they got to make a name, and like they can always rely on a guy to like get shit done, make a sale, make whatever happen, right? Build a business, and they're structured that way. And then you get the women that were like, I can have a baby on my hip, and I can be on the phone, and I'm gonna be making dinner, and we're just like doing all the things and don't even like, it just comes very natural. I'm a very systematic, very like process oriented person, and I take the ideas. I can't, whatever my brain is, I cannot come up with too many cool ideas, right? But once the idea is there, I take it and then I can organize it and build it out, and that's what I know I'm good at.
yeah.
So, really that you said that, I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, so Andrew, craziest paint job that you've seen. Go
So
right
thi-
or wrong.
So this is a good one. This was all the way back when I first started with Benjamin Moore, and I guess I was too naive. I didn't see this coming. They were like, "Hey, Andrew, we think you should be in charge of the blank account." I'm not going to say the name of it, but we think you should be in charge of the blank account. And I was like, "Oh, sweet! This is a big national company that people really know. It's a big brand, iconic brand. Their buildings really stand out. Yeah, I'll definitely do that." They're like, "Okay, great. Go to Atlanta because there's a problem." Well, that was when now we'll get technical paint. Some things I have learned is the term surfactant leaching. Surfactant leaching refers to when the surfactants are things that go into a can of paint that bind them together, and it's like soap. It's like, in other words, to bind all the ingredients together, it needs to be held by surfactants that are put in there. Well, under certain conditions, the surfactants on a paint that have been put on the wall can leach out, come out of the building. So I get to Atlanta, and this big giant metal downtown, deeply colored, bright, vibrant, bright colored building looks like it's been in a car wash. The surfactants are coming out of it, and the asset owner, who was a corporate employee, the painting contractor, who knew better, and I've called him on this before, we remain good friends to this day. Everybody's looking at me like, "Well, what are we going to do about this?" I'm like, "Man, I have no idea I have no idea.
Like,
What do you mean what are we going to do
know.
about that? Have you tried to wash it off?" And it keeps, so, but it taught me a valuable lesson. I had a lot of very intense conversations with the painting contractor, some intense negotiations about solutions with the painting contractor. I had to rely on my chemical and technologically educated folks on my end to say what was really happening. And in the end, we all had to come together to make the customer happy. So I do go visit that building every now and again, and I remember that was super painful. My quick advice to your franchisees or anyone in the painting industry: don't try to paint in the dead of summer in 100% humidity with the product. Like, you got to check the surface temperature of the building. It's like kind of a key one. That was my big takeaway. But I'll never forget looking at that building and watch the soap coming off of it. Like it was like a high school prank. It was like I thought that someone had thrown, how the heck are we going to mitigate this? But we found a way to do it. Like I said, the painting contractor in this case is someone that I remain close to to this day. We're good partners. We just were laughing about it with some of my local guys down there that looked at, we're looking at the project, and it's, when you get together under adverse conditions to help a customer to the best of your ability, and you're honest about it. We screwed up this, you screwed up that. This is what we can do. This is how much it's going to cost. It's painful in the short term, but in the long term, it can bring for very fruitful relationships. So that one, I went home to my wife after that one and said, I think I'm in over my head a little bit here. This is a little bit, but that was a good one. That was a good one. And now I know, thanks to you, that another one's coming around the corner, because I just talked about one that was so long ago. Something's crazy is going to happen. But hey, we'll get, one thing I do say, we take our job very seriously. We know you do too. People take their jobs very seriously. It's just paint. We'll figure it out. We can figure it out. You
can't take it too serious.
We can figure it out. It's just paint, right? Like let's get this figured out. But that was a good one.
Yeah, we've had those too, and you're right. It's like, what are we gonna do? Like, let's just work through it, figure it out, move on, have a solution. That's hilarious. One of the things that I built into our software was like data about the paint and the application and the warranty, and when it actually is going to hold up or not. So like whatever you guys have listed on your paint, like it has to be applied in these conditions in this way, or it's not going to hold up. And I did that to protect the professionals, like the pros, right? Their contractors and the homeowners. So as much information as possible available to them, so they can't say, oh, I didn't know. It's like, it's right there, it's listed out, it's on the paint cans, but it's also in, the work order that you have. Because we have had people come back and say, oh, it's paint failure, or this didn't work. Right. Like, all right, well, all of this was listed out. Did we find these steps? So that's one thing that we wanted to do on the tech side, was a way to protect manufacturers, because you guys get called out right away. The professionals, because they also get called out right away, but also the homeowners, because sometimes people do screw up, and we want to make sure our customers are taken care of. So I like that you told that story. Yeah. Okay. Any final words for anybody out there? I know you said don't take these things too serious. It's just paint. But anything else you guys want to say?
No, I next time I see you, I'd love to see your software in action. And I hope to see you soon.
Yeah. Well, I know I'll see you guys in January.
Yeah.
I can show you actually. Well, I mean, if you're on with your team, I don't know, but I have to demo our software to some folks.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Over there. So let me know.
Well, yeah, one of these days, I would just love to see it. It looks cool. I'd love to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being on here, and I guess tune in for our next episode with Inside the Coded Economy to learn a little bit more. We're actually going to be talking with Benetrends on basically financial options for new business owners and business owners looking to grow their business. So that will be our next episode.